kids, these young people who are here who don't get a vote or a voice, unfortunately, but through the actions that we're taking right now in a state that leads the nation in the number of school shootings, where the number one cause of death for kids and teenagers is gun violence today, where we are in week 19 since Uvalde. Not a thing's been done to make it any less likely that that happens in any other community, to any other child, in any other part of the state. This total attack on the rights of women, control over their bodies. 50 years after Texas women won the right for protection for their privacy to make personal and very often painful decisions without government intervention. We've got a grid that you all survived, although 700 of our fellow Texans did not in February of 2021. Grid's still not fixed. We're paying more for our electricity rates, and we're going into this next winter really no better protected than we were in the last. But against all of that is all of us doing all we can with what we have, where we are right now at this moment. And it makes me so optimistic and hopeful and even almost confident about what we're going to do a month from today. I want you to know that here in Georgetown, all of us have chosen to meet the moment in this way. We haven't succumbed to the temptation to despair or submitted to this as our permanent future, fate, or fortune. We know that in a government of, by, and for the people, it's on us, the people who are the government. The government is the people, to make sure that we change these things. And that's what we're doing by knocking on the doors of those who have the power to vote and therefore decide the outcome of this election. And we're joined by our fellow Texans in 700 other organizing events just like this one across the state on the weekend that matters most. This is not only 1 month to go till Election Day, it's 3 days to go before the deadline to register to get your name on the rolls, and it's just a little more than 2 weeks until we start casting ballots on the 24th of October, which is the first day of early voting. So I want to tell you this. You have been following this campaign. You've seen how, whether it's by the money we've outraised Greg Abbott every quarter, millions of dollars more in the last fundraising period from hundreds of thousands of our fellow Texans, making sure we have the resources to support what you're doing today. It's the 95,000 volunteers just like yourselves who stepped up and said, hey, give me a clipboard, put me on the doors, let's get to work. We will be able, after the end of this month, to have knocked on more than 5 million doors across the state of Texas, which has never been done before. Unprecedented, absolutely amazing. If you saw the debate last Friday, we had our one and only chance to go head to head with the sitting governor of the state of Texas. His condition is that there's only one debate, that it be held in a theater with seating for 1,000 and not a single person be allowed in, including our spouses, just the camera operators and the moderators. They did a focus group of Texas voters the day of that debate. And before we took the stage, they had Abbott 40%, O'Rourke 27%, undecided 33%. After the debate, where we made the case, this guy's been in office for 8 years, and look, he doesn't wake up wanting kids to be shot in school or the grid to fail or inflation and property taxes to go through the roof. But for whatever reason, after 8 years, he's been unable to make the changes necessary to protect and look out for our fellow Texans. So it's time that we turn the page and move forward. After that debate, they re-polled that same group of Texas voters. Abbott had moved from 40% to 43%. We had moved from 27% to 50%. We know that we can successfully prosecute the case. We know that our message of bringing the state together during these very divided times resonates, hits home, turns out, and even persuades people that we need in order to win this election. So I just want to give you some faith and confidence that what you are going to say at these doors right now is going to make a difference. And the last and maybe most important thing that I want to share with you, in addition to all the other attacks that I described, one of the other reasons this is such a defining moment of truth for us here in Texas is that our right to vote this amazing democracy that so many have literally given their lives to create, to expand, to protect, whether in uniform, whether the civil rights and voting rights marchers of the 50s and 60s. This democracy is under attack here in Texas, more so than anywhere else in America today. Harder to cast your ballot, and it's harder to register to vote in Texas than in any of the other 49. 750 polling places have closed down in the state. That's twice the number of the next closest state. Most of those polling place closures in the fastest growing black and brown neighborhoods in the state of Texas. There are a number of other ways in which they try to suppress and intimidate people from turning out, having their voices heard, and their votes counted. The best way to counter that, at least now, before we take office, is for us to be on the doors of those who are the very targets of suppression and intimidation. And that's who we're trying to get you out to talk to today. And it will be some pretty powerful, profound, poetic political justice when the very people drawn out of this democracy are the people that we bring in to win this on election night, November 8th. All right? So, we are, Cynthia and Chris and John and I, who just pulled up in the tundra, we just left a similar organizing event in Killeen, Texas, where we knocked on doors there. We had some really good conversations with voters, many of them military retirees, and when we talk about what they swore an oath to, not a political party, not to a president, not any one person in power, but to the Constitution and our democracy, we got heads nodding, we got people saying that they are for us. Prior to that, we started the day in Fort Worth, Texas, where we had so many great people who came out, knocking on doors in that community, listening to teachers who say, hey, I hope that you'll have my back. And we say, not only will we do that, we'll pay you enough not to work a second or a third job. Yeah. We'll cancel the Star Trek. Yeah. And last thing, and this is a true story. The first person who came up to shake my hand in Fort Worth, who was going to knock on doors with us, was named Lola. And she said, I want to show you a picture. She said, this is me at another organizing event to knock on doors on September 4th, so a little more than a month ago. This is me and this guy, Rick, some other random stranger who came out to knock on doors as well. Well, because of this campaign, Rick and I have fallen in love, and we are now. So look, I can't make any promises. Something magical might happen for you here today. Allison is going to brief us on what we need to know before we get on these doors. If you've never done this before, let me just assure you, there are people who are waiting to meet you and to listen to you, and they're going to be so encouraged that you've shown up. If you've done this before, you know how effective this is. TV ads, radio spots, the stuff we do on social media is a poor substitute for what you are doing right now. Human to human, eyeball to eyeball, face to face contact, man, that is the most powerful thing humankind has ever come up with, and that's what we are employing with you to win this race. There are not 95,000 volunteers in the other campaign. You all are the secret weapon, the competitive advantage, and the key to victory, and the absolute antidote to despair. So we're going to get after it. We're going to listen to Allison, and then I'm going to join you in going out there to knock on doors here in Georgetown. Thank you all for coming out.
What we're going to do now is we're going to split into 3 groups. I've got organizers. Raise your hand, organizers. These are your local organizers. We've got Matt over here. Everybody say hi to Matt. Hey, Matt. We've got Annie back here. Hey. And Dahlia. There's Dahlia right here. Okay, so I'm not sure the numbers, but we'll kind of split maybe roughly 15 or so in each group. And yeah, so find an organizer. They're going to help you get trained. No one is going to leave here without knowing how to block walk, with all your questions answered. So have fun, guys. It's going to be fun.